is trying to accomplish by going to Antonio Davis, because they're not going to go to him a lot. When you have Vince Carter out on the floor, you have Del Curry out there. Those guys are shooters. Del Curry's a great three-point shooter, and you're going to Antonio Davis. You're going to try to get that third foul against Tim Duncan and get him out of the game.
At the line, he makes him pay first, so David Robinson will have to come in. Tim Duncan will sit down. Felton Spencer will join him on the bench, and Malik will replace Felton.
Well, now you're going to see the Spurs have a tough time creating offense. David, you can go to him in the post, but we're going to see how Toronto treats him. If they're going to try to be physical with Kevin Willis guarding him, because Kevin Willis is as strong as any player in this league.
And Muggsy almost got it out. There's 18 left on the shot clock as the Spurs reset there after it's tapped out by Muggsy Bogues. Comes from Tim Duncan's alma mater. A ways before Tim Duncan played there. No foul called on that. Rose went inside, had a hand on the shoulder that time, so he'll get the call as he goes up. And that will go against Kevin Willis, and that's a big paw to have on your shoulder.
Kevin Willis's teammates used to tease him mercilessly when he was at Atlanta because he has short arms. His arms aren't
not in proportion,
long.
right?
Yeah.
To his height, which is.
But they're muscular.
And they hurt. Malik misses the first of two. Willis in his 16th season in the NBA.
A lot of years.
Spurs so far have not been able to drop a free throw yet in this game, and thank you very much, Malik Rose, for ending that drought. That is the first free throw to fall.
What are we from the line?
Now 1 for 4. The steal here by the Spurs. Malik going back in, has it knocked out that time by McGrady, and just not able to haul it in front of the Spurs bench is Muggsy Bogues. Boy, McGrady has got an incredible lead, doesn't he?
Absolutely. This is, like we said earlier, it's an extremely athletic team.
Jaren Jackson will now look at Willis and Robinson go at it.
You have McGrady, you have Vince Carter, who was recently voted the most exciting player in the NBA. And then you have Tracy McGrady, who's equally as exciting. So this team really has a lot of flash for these fans.
Look at the block party graphic you see there. But more importantly, the Spurs right now are being outblocked by Toronto 7-2. From way outside, Porter over Muggsy. It won't go, but it comes back outside to Jaren Jackson.
That went in between Del Curry's legs in time.
Del Curry now checking into the game also for Toronto. Well, he can light him up from the outside as well. They call it a 3D attack when he, D. Brown, and Doug Christie are in. Robinson double team, forces it over to Malik. Nice move around. Will it go in? And it does. Great shot by Malik Rose.
Fantastic move by Malik. Just feeling the defense and going the opposite way, laying it off the glass with his opposite hand.
Spurs back to a 1-point advantage. Curry off the screen. It won't fall. Trying to haul it in as Rose, and he got it. And he's hauled in by Davis that time. Just reached around and grabbed him for some reason. That is his second. Team's second in the quarter.
And Malik did a little bit of acting to get that call.
Whatever works. That's a basket on the other end before. Malik doing a great job of recognizing where the defense is coming and switching hands. Avery gets it to go. Avery Johnson checking back into the game.
Vintage Avery.
Still needing 4 assists to pass Johnny Moore as his Spurs all-time assist leader. And is very approachable tonight. Now away from the ball, they'll call it on Malik, who's having to guard Davis. That is his second, team fifth, so we'll go to the line. Avery talking right now with Dan Crawford because he wants to kind of set up how the fouls are going here early on.
Absolutely, and Malik has to, now he has to use his head. He has to be extremely careful. You have Tim Duncan out with 3 fouls. You can't afford to have Malik pick up his third or even his fourth after that. He needs to take care and not get too overzealous in defending in the post.
Well, Antonio Davis coming into the game was shooting 85% from the free throw line. That is second among the big men in the NBA. But he's missed 2 already here tonight. He makes that one go.
That surprises me. I didn't know he was that good of a free throw shooter.
Avery trying to push it up now. Avery feeds it back outside to Jarrett for the three. It's short. Robinson there. And they'll call it on Davis as he was battling for the rebound against Robinson. That is Davis's third already, team third.
Good.
And that's going to force an adjustment as well.
Big Dave got a call just like this the other night. That's an obvious foul. Now, he's got his arm wrapped around Dave's left arm. Now, he's calling, trying to say Dave wrapped him up, but it was clear from that replay that Dave had his arm straight out. He had his arm wrapped around Dave Robinson's arm.
Well, Davis is having to check out anyway because he's drawn blood literally on himself, so he would have to check out anyway at this time, but they want to sit him with the third foul anyway.
Well, Dave got a similar call the other night in Detroit. Same kind of call. He was just battling underneath and got called for a foul, and I thought it was a tough foul to take.
Robinson trying to split two defenders. Willis and McGrady that time loses control, but at the time, Oakley couldn't haul it in, so it'll be the Spurs ball with 15 seconds on the shot clock. And a 2-point advantage here midway through the second quarter. Robinson goes up, won't go, try to tap it in, it's knocked out. McGrady hauls it in off the rebound. And Robinson comes from behind to tap it away to Porter to Avery for the lay-in. That's just a poor decision on McGrady's part. He needs to give that up to Muggsy Bogues. He turned his back, kept running, didn't anticipate the speed of 5-0. And guess who is the leading scorer in this game for the Spurs right now? Avery Johnson with 10. But Brady, the long two.
But he can play. He's extremely athletic. Now look at him guarding Avery Johnson. He's about 6'8", has long, long arms.
Away from the ball, Kevin Willis banging with David Robinson. And Willis will get called for the foul. That is his second. That is the team fourth in the quarter as well. So next up, everybody's going to the line after this. We've got a timeout charge to Toronto. And there's a great look at David on defense, forcing the turnover, resulting in 2 for Avery Johnson. Back with more after this.
On the Toronto Raptors part. Muggsy Bogues is calling for the ball. Give it up. Instead, he brings it up. Oh, you look good now, but then you don't. He was trying to get a little too cute. You can't get cute against this Spurs team. They're going to make you pay. David Robinson with a great hustle play leads to a fast break basket. And that time, your only shot blocker back was Muggsy Bogues. Avery Johnson took it right at him. He wasn't afraid.
Can't get cute against the #1 defensive team in the NBA right now. But look at this. The Toronto Raptors are out shooting the Spurs starting the second quarter here. 60% to 46%, although they've only taken 5 shots and hit 3 early on. Double team comes, and Muggsy Bogues comes up with a steal. Over to Curry on the break. He can't finish. Jaren Jackson forced him to divert. And now here come the Spurs to Avery. Thinks jumper, goes back up, has to pass because in his face is McGrady.
Well, that was a tough set that time. Mario had Malik, but Malik ran a little too far underneath the basket. He needed to chop his steps, hold up a little bit. In the middle of the lane, he would have got a layup.
Step up to shoot is Del Curry. And Curry, who's also deadly from three-point range, has to settle for the 2. And as a result, we've got a tie game again.
Well, that time, JJ played that exactly right because Del Curry has one of the quickest releases you'll see in this league, and he releases it with great accuracy.
Avery short on the jumper that time after the screen set by Robinson. It's just so funny to watch Muggsy trying to run around David's legs. Grady now left to work one-on-one against Ellie, and the shot is off, and Rose crashes the boards for the rebound.
Again, style points aren't going to get you anywhere. When you get an isolation play, the last thing you want to do with the ball is start playing with it in between your legs. That gets you nothing.
Illegal D called that time against Toronto. That is a warning first. The Spurs, by the way, have finally caught up with Toronto in rebounding. We're now dead even at 17 apiece. Jaren Jackson works it over to Robinson. Quick feed into Rose, but the foul is called before the release off Oakley.
Well, you see that time, Dave Robinson had an isolation play, takes his time. He's not going to put the ball in between his legs a million times and get flashy with it. He's going to take his time. That time, Malik Rose flashes to the lane and gets a foul. But for the most part, Dave isn't going to get fancy with it. One, because he can't. He's not going to dribble the ball all around because he can't do it. He'll dribble it off his foot. And secondly, he's just smarter than that. He realizes the value of keeping a live dribble is what we call it.
Malik, as well as the rest of the team, struggling from the free throw line tonight. They are now 1 of 5, and Malik right now is trying to sink only his second free throw in 4 attempts. He finally gets it to go. So the Spurs are going to have to work on the free throw shooting. Overall in the league, they're only 73%. Carter goes around Avery, but he gets the call beforehand, and that will go against Johnson.
And Vince Carter is facing the toughest defense that he's seen all year, because every night he has 2 or 3 highlight dunks, and that 6 points a game. If he's going to get dunked tonight, he's going to have to really work for them.
Yeah, and so far, as you point out, you see it regularly in most games. We have not seen a spectacular dunk from him tonight because they haven't been allowing him inside to do it.
Well, the worst thing that could have happened for Vince Carter today is San Antonio got really pounded by Detroit the other night. Yeah, Jerry Stackhouse had a ton of dunks. We don't give up that many dunks ever, and that's what we don't like to do. We don't like to give up dunks to get crowds in the game, get teams fired up, and so far, Vince Carter has paid.
Offensive goaltending, you can wipe out the basket. The alley-oop was from Malik to David, and David really didn't have to touch it because it looked like it was going in, but the slight tap erases the basket.
I don't like that call. I know the referee is thinking that time it's the right call to make, but you have to know that that's a pass. But it probably is the right call to make.
As a result, wipe it out, and on the other end, Vince Carter gets his 5th field goal to fall. He now has 12 points in the game. He is the game's leading scorer, and now it's an 8-1 Toronto run.
Well, I'd rather have Vince Carter shoot shots from the outside rather than go in there, draw fouls on your big men, dunk on people, embarrass people.
Good pass out, the three-pointer by Ellie, and he gets him to pay. Mario Ellie tonight, that is his 3rd three-pointer of the game.
Mario, he's deadly. I mean, he's just deadly. If you give him a chance to set his feet, he's going to shoot threes as well as anybody in this league.
Toronto almost lost control of the ball. Oakley with a wild off-balance shot with the shot clock winding down. It's reset now with Willis gathering it in. Not a high-scoring game, but a nice one instead. Trying to go inside hard that time. Robinson was calling for it. Robinson got a hand on it, so they'll call it a jump ball against him and Del Curry.
Yeah, I wonder who'll win this one.
Well, it better be David. Del Curry trying to gather it in, and David was trying to argue it went out on him, but they call it a jump ball since neither actually had possession. Robinson gets it to go the second time. Quick hands, and the Spurs control.
I think if Dave stood straight up and put his hand up, Del Curry couldn't jump and touch his hand. He just didn't get off the floor.
Robinson with the pull-up jumper over Willis. It's short, and Willis is there for the rebound.
Tough set that time. Dave didn't have a lot of room to work. He looked like he wanted to drive the ball that time. Didn't have a lot of room. Look at Mario's defense.
Doing a great job on cutting off Vince Carter that time. Now they run an isolation. They call an offensive foul now. It will be on Oakley that time. That is his 3rd.
And Leak is getting so much better. He must have gone to the Doc Rivers Academy of Flopping, because that time Oak was pushing on him and Malik's legs all of a sudden got weak.
He took a little acting school during the offseason. Did a great job. Spurs trying to maintain control, but it's a dead heat. 37 all. Back with the final moments of the first half next. Center in Toronto. Compete on court in the Southwest Airlines I Masters coming in for a landing contest. And you could be landing a pair of free tickets anywhere Southwest Airlines flies. For additional information or register, stop by any I Masters location. There's a man who likes to fly high on the court, but remember, we've got our own ground crew anchored by the two Twin Towers.
And they've done a great job, along with Mario Ellie, who is a superb defender. Easily one of the top defenders on the perimeter in this league, and he's done a great job of really reining in Vince Carter, not letting him get started with exciting plays.
Remember, when you're flying like Vince Carter, you have to avoid tall towers. Avery from the corner. That's where he buried it in the NBA Finals, and that's where he buries it tonight.
That's a shot.
Avery is the leading scorer of the Spurs tonight with 12 big points. Rebounding after that horrible game, 0 for 5 shooting against Detroit, and the slow start tonight, he's fought back strong. Fade away, gets it to go is Carter. Carter, conversely, is the game's leading scorer now with 14, just 2 better than the little general.
Well, the tough thing about guarding Vince Carter is he's going to elevate and shoot over the top of you.
Robinson in for the slam. Carter late on the defense that time off the mismatch. And David picks up only his 2nd field goal.
Well, he was late and he was fake on the defense because really he took a swipe at Dave instead of taking his time, getting in front of him, maybe challenging the drive.
Away from the ball, Mario Ellie, I think, accidentally caught Carter in the face. Take a look now at the 4-game summary. To bring you up to date, let's reset and tell you how we've gotten here so far. The Spurs are shooting 45 to 42 of the Raptors. They've improved their shooting percentage after starting out very poor. Avery Johnson leading right now. Vince Carter up that now to 14 points so far. Now make it 15 at the line. Keeps this up, I have to open up another column before this is over. Make it 16 and counting. Back dead even again at 41 all. Just a little over a minute to play here in the first half. Not a high-scoring affair, but still a very good game so far. Avery Johnson going in. Does he get it to go? No, but he does get the call on Muggsy Bogues.
That time you see Avery going to the basket, again with a sense of purpose, but he got caught in between. It happens to a lot of players. You want to just throw it into the basket, or you see that your angle changes and you want to use the glass. And that time he shot it in between, kind of in the middle between the glass and the basket. Usually he comes in with his little looping hook.
Now, who would have thought when this game started it would wind up being a scoring battle between Vince Carter and Avery Johnson? But it is. That's exactly what we have tonight. And he gets both of his free throws to go at his first trip there. And now Avery has 14.
Well, this is the first time all year that Avery has a size difference, a mismatch.
Willis can't get the putback to go. Malik Rose looks like he may have re-injured his hand. He's been having troubles with that thumb on his left hand, and he's shaking it, but let's see if he can shake it off. The bounce pass to Ellie goes awry. He didn't think Ellie was going to break to the basket that quick.
Well, he had a layup. That time, he gave up the layup instead and threw the pass.
Rose almost got the steal. Back to Bucks. 13 on the shot clock, and Muggsy gets it to go.
Well, you see this little fake trap that Toronto's running at San Antonio right now. And really, it's just to get them to run more time off the clock.
As they're trying to set this screen here, Malik Rose is pushed that time by Thomas, who's checked into the game. That is John Thomas. And that is Thomas's first. And we are in the penalty both ways. So Malik goes to the line.
Well, Malik that time, again, he sold the push to the referees. He got pushed a little bit, but you're going to fall into the danger of trying to sell every foul. And when you do that, pretty soon the referees look at you, and when you really get hit, and when you're really flailing out of bounds, they look the other way.
I was keeping an eye on that thumb now as he goes to the free throw line to see it's bothering him on his free throw shooting, because that's where it might flare up a little bit. But, man, he jammed it again. You can see him shaking it off. He is right-handed. It doesn't go that time. So far, he's just 50% from the free throw line tonight as he shoots a 78% for the season. Vince Carter draws a double team, trying to force it out. He's going in hard on Robinson, and somehow that hang time, he gets it to fall. Carter now with 18 compared to Avery Johnson's 14 now.
Well, that time they let him out of a double team, and you cannot do that.
Avery shoots short. Robinson taps out. Avery Johnson tries to gather it in at the end of the buzzer, but can't do it. So the Spurs will go to the first half locker room, hearing a standing ovation for the Toronto Raptors, playing the defending world champions very hard here in the Air Canada Center. Keep in mind, Toronto has never beaten the Spurs in Canada, and they want to try and do that tonight. They've got a 1-point lead going to the break.
Down at halftime and come back. A lot of big rallies, especially at the Dome. So just because Toronto has the lead here coming in halftime doesn't concern me.
Spurs usually say they're best for last. Here's what we saw in the first half so far. We saw a lot of Vince Carter from the outside, but no inside slam dunks.
Absolutely. And if he's going to have his jumper rolling like this, well, then so be it. The thing you don't want from him is him flying to the basket, creating havoc. Here, just an up fake, gets a little jump shot. Make him shoot jumpers. That's the key in defending a guy like that. Here you see Tracy McGrady. He has 2 guys behind him. If you're in that situation, you have to at least give the ball up. Instead, he gets a stolen fast break, easy fast break for Avery Johnson. And Avery Johnson really has been the story for the Spurs offensively in the first half. Little running hooks. He's hit jumpers from the outside. He's really come with a purpose, and I really think it started when he went to the basket early on in the first half. Didn't get a call. We saw how mad he was. I mean, he had spit coming out of his mouth. He was upset. And from then on, he really picked his game up.
And it's turned into a scoring battle between Vince Carter and Avery Johnson. Carter leads right now just by 4 in that scoring battle, but nonetheless, Avery's holding his own with 14. Time now to look at the Express News first half stats here. Bring you up to date. Neither team shooting lights out, although they're about in the same ballpark, 44 to 43%. The Spurs of the free throw line are woeful tonight, only shooting 50%. Rebounding, the Toronto Raptors are out-rebounding the Spurs big men. They've got to get to the basket more. Turnovers about the same. In fact, Toronto only had 9 turnovers in their entire victory against Washington coming into this, but there's one huge stat that stands out there. 8-2 blocks. It is the 3rd best blocking team in the NBA, the Raptors, against the first place blocking team, the Spurs, and so far the big men do not have a single block among them for the Spurs.
Well, you see Vince Carter shooting all those jump shots in the highlight package we had earlier. He hasn't taken the ball to the hole that many times, maybe 1 time, so there hasn't been opportunities for blocks. As long as the perimeter people keep Toronto Raptors from driving to the basket, the big people aren't going to get a lot of blocks because they don't get blocks out on the floor. They get them a foot, 2 foot, 3 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet away from the basket.
And there you see one stat that stands out too. The bench so far for Toronto is outscoring the Spurs bench 12-7. So things have to get going on the offensive end. Defensive end, work a little stronger on trying to shut down Vince Carter and the rest of the game. When we come back, we'll continue here from the Air Canada Center, where once again the Toronto Raptors have never beaten the Spurs. It's a magical experience here in the brand new confines of the Toronto Raptors. The Spurs' first ever visit here. They hope it will be a lasting impression next. Raptor fan, if she'd turn around, you'd be able to recognize that is Tia Carrera. And she, of course, is best known for Wayne's World, but is shooting up here a television show called Relics Hunter, which is basically a female Indiana Jones. Time now for the Dodge keys to victory, and according to our expert here, Sean Elliott, what will it take for the Spurs to beat the Toronto Raptors?
Well, they have to contain Vince Carter, and when I say that, I don't want him going to the basket, getting dunks, layups, creating fouls for the big people, and they have to match the inside physicality. And that was my word, by the way.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Keys to victory brought to you by Dodge. Do not follow, do not conform, be different, which is exactly what Vince Carter is trying to do in his NBA career.
I want to know if Tia Carrera is hunting relics. Is she hunting you, Greg?
I would fall in the category compared to her. Now she's holding a baby, and look at that. Look at that.
Our producer in the truck,
Daniel Ashcraft.
Daniel
just proposed to her, I believe.
Yeah, I can hear the saliva coming through my microphone, through my earpiece.
David Robinson trying to get his first block of the game. Can you believe that? The big men have no blocks between them. They average 6 blocks a game. And who has the only 2 blocks for the Spurs? The smallest man on the court for the Spurs, Avery Johnson. And just to bring you up to date, that shot from the outside, picking up where he's left off, that's Vince Carter. He now has 20 in the game to open the scoring here in the second half. Avery Johnson still needs 4 assists in this game to pass Johnny Moore as his first all-time assist leader. He has 3. He needed 7 coming into the game. Tim Duncan back to start after he got saddled with early foul trouble in the first half, and he wants to come out with a vengeance as well, I assure you.
And he's got to be ice cold because he sat down on the bench the majority of the second quarter. Then you go into halftime, and he has to come out and get warmed up. Tough to do.
That time he forced a change in the shot and got the ball back for the Spurs. Avery trying to get it. Looked like Christie might have gotten a hand on that one and forced him to alter the shot at the very least. D. Brown back out to Oakley. We didn't see a lot of D. Brown in the second quarter. Davis with a stop and pop gets it to go. Antonio Davis now with 8 in the game. Just his second field goal, though.
He's showing a little offensive game today, isn't he?
He has. They've left him open to do it at times. That time he created the shot. And now it's up to a 5-point lead for Toronto. David going in. He is stopped that time by Davis. Starting the break with Carter, finishing with the slam on the other end, and right away, Greg Popovich wants a Spurs timeout.
Well, that's exactly what we're talking about. He just out-sprinted everybody that time down the floor. First, Dave gets set up here. He thinks he has a wide open shot. Antonio Davis comes from the weak side, helps out, and look at Vince Carter. This is explosiveness.
Look at that going baseline that time and getting up among the. So you see how his head was above the rim that time for the slam.
He gets up. I mean, he really gets up. The last person that I've seen that jumps this high was a guy by the name of Joy Johnson. Dennis Johnson's younger brother, probably about 6'4", had a 52-inch vertical jump.
52?
Yeah, the thing is, he couldn't shoot the ball. He couldn't shoot the ball as well.
He had to dunk it.
Right. But if he got near the basket, lights out.
Biggest lead of the game for the Raptors, and Chucky Brown puts a lid on that, opening up with his first field goal of the second half. And the Spurs are creeping back now to within 5 after being down by 7. Again, the largest lead for Toronto as they start here the second half. D. Brown for 3, got it. Late on the defense.
Well, that time, D. Brown set a back screen on Chucky Brown. Avery had to help. Otherwise, Vince Carter's going for an alley-oop dunk, enable D. Brown to get wide open.
Chucky Brown with a long 2 that time. So Brown with back-to-back field goals gets it to go, and the Spurs are back within 6 now. Carter now working on Brown, trying to get some help, drops it off to Davis, has an open shot on the baseline. Brown there for the rebound after Oakley comes crashing in. Avery leaves it for Robinson, who changes his idea of going in for the slam. The layoff rims. There's a battle back from Avery. He's tied up by Brown. Great quick pass by Avery Johnson to force D. Brown that time to foul Robinson and put him on the line. That is his first, the team first in the second half.
Great hustle by the Spurs, especially Tim Duncan hitting the floor. This is the last play. D. Brown set that little screen there. Vince Carter was going to the basket. See, Avery Johnson's coming out late, but Avery really has no choice there. He has to help bump Vince Carter. Otherwise, you're going to see an alley-oop dunk. The best way that I always believed to get open as a small forward was to set a back screen. If I set a back screen for Dave Robinson and he went to the basket, my man always had to help. I could pop to 15 feet, 20 feet, shoot a jumper. That's exactly what D. Brown did.
David trying to improve the Spurs' woeful free throw shooting in the first half. They were at 50%. Now David has hit the first of 2 as they clean up some debris on the court. Before they get going here, they noticed that Doug Christie was slipping a little bit, so they decided to patch it up. Now David will go back to the line here, shooting 73% for the season. That's down from his normal average of the free throw line. Back off the back of the rim, and only 1 goes. So again, the Spurs struggling from the free throw line tonight.
Well, like I've said, that's the Achilles heel on this team. You're going to have your big people shoot a lot of free throws because they're so aggressive going to the basket. You need them to hit a high percentage.
Doug Christie over Mario Elie. Doug Christie with his second field goal of the game. His first coming in the first quarter, and he did it just by stepping back a shot. Margin continues to grow between the two teams. Now up to 7 for the Raptors. That is not their biggest lead. It's been 8. Chucky Brown from the corner. Boy, and Brown opening up on fire here in the second half with 3 consecutive field goals.
Well, Chucky's really the only one that shot the ball well in Detroit the other night. His stroke is really going right now.
Quick pass in to Davis. Robinson is there, and somehow it goes in.
He wanted a foul that time.
Davis got good position on Robinson, getting the pass down low enough to be able to go back up and in, and all Davis could do was stand his ground. Nice entry pass into Duncan with a jump hook, and finally Tim is back on track with his first field goal of the second half.
Those are beautiful hands that man has, because that was a tough pass. He could barely see the ball.